Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we will have a slight different meeting. We will give you a couple of tips on how to improve your report for the practical phase, okay? Here today is Eva and also Danko, one of the most experienced coach that we have in our program. And he also lead a lot of projects. So he will talk a little bit about himself and we'll give you guys a couple tips on how to improve your work. Okay, Eva, maybe you can talk a little bit first?
Yes, like introduce myself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Eva Famika. I am a lead coach this semester in the academy program, and I'm from Belgium. I'm 16, and yes, that's basically it.
Okay, guys. Hi, my name is Danko. I'm from Chile, and I am the AA program director. We'll talk a bit more about what's the program. I think that's very relevant for today. I've been in X Culture for a bit over 3 years now, I think. So yeah, I think we should start with this webinar. So what are we going to talk about is I think I shared the
Where are you
wrong.
from? Where are you from? You need to tell them where you're
Yeah,
from.
I said,
Oh,
I'm from Chile.
oh, sorry,
I
I
mentioned.
didn't hear. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, no worries, no worries. All right. So, today we have something for you. We want to talk about the weekly milestone advice sheets, what they are, where you can find them, and how to use them. So, quick agenda for today. First, we'll talk about what's the program. This is very relevant in order to understand what are these weekly milestone advice sheets. Um, please confirm that you are seeing my slides, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. Then we will talk about what are these weekly milestone advice sheets, how to use them. We'll take a quick look at one or two examples. Then Eva has prepared a small activity for you. And at the end, we'll have questions and a quick summary of what we covered today. So what is the AA program? So first, our vision. So you understand what we do. We try to enhance the culture experience for all of these stakeholders. This involves the participants, the coaches, the clients as well, and X culture itself. Um, maybe that doesn't yet help you understand really what we do. So our mission is to help the X culture participants to gain a better understanding of what it takes to create a high quality report. Um, how do we do this? Well, we provide some weekly resources called weekly milestone advice sheets, which Eva will be covered very shortly, for each of the milestones that you guys have to do. So for section 1, 2, 3, and then for the final draft. And what we try to do with this is we try to encourage a critical review of your work, and we try to also provide feedback, generalized feedback, and also help you avoid some of the common mistakes that we see students make very common. In terms of how the AA program works, I do not want to get into too much details. I don't think this is as relevant, but how we work is we work in small teams. Each team is assigned a client, and each team is led by a very experienced coach called client expert. So these client experts have been in the coaching program for a while. They understand the client challenges in depth, and they are able to lead their teams of coaches in order to create these documents. And I think Eva also forgot to mention at the beginning, she is one of the most experienced members as well in the AA program, and she's part of the leadership of that program. So now I will leave you with her. She will talk more about what are these WMS exactly and how you can use them.
Yes. Can you maybe? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. I have some allergies, but anyway. What are the WMAs? You may be wondering what are those. And basically, WMAs are documents that helps you, the students, to improve the quality of your reports and also meet your company's expectation. So you may have faced this situation when you are reading the client challenge and there are some parts that are unclear for you, you don't know how to proceed, and maybe you are a bit lost when you read them, you don't know how to start, and those documents can help you with this. So there are two kinds. Oh no, first, WMAs contain advice for each section of the client challenge. So you have WMA1 section 1, WMA2 section 2, 3 section 3, etc. And then you have WMA4, but there is no section 4 because actually the WMA4 gather all the advice that we may have forget to write in the previous one. So yeah, there are two kinds of WMA. You have the general WMA and the client-specific WMA. So you can see here that for general WMA, I didn't put a S at WMA because there is only one general WMA, that is helpful for all the client in Xculture, because the advice that are in there are, I would say, not universal, but let's say quite universal for Xculture. And basically, they help you with the structure of your report, the formatting, the writing. And for example, one of the advice that you can find in this general WMA is not avoiding using the pronoun I, while writing your business proposal, because it's not professional. And you can see that this advice is available for all the reports. But then you have the client-specific WMAs, and there are several of them because we have one WMA per client that contains specific advice for each client. Well, when I said that we have one WMA for all the clients, it's a bit a lie because the AA team is not that big and it takes quite a long time to write a complete WMA. So for this semester, we have WMAs for all the clients that are listed below. And if you are working on one of those companies, please contact your coach to ask them the WMA, and they will send it to you. So we can move to next slide. Okay, so now we are going to see how to use the WMA and how they are structured. So there are two main parts in the WMA. There are the samples and the follow-ups. The sample is basically the piece of information, the request that coaches would like you to bring attention to, because maybe it's something important in your report, like the choice of the new market, the SWOT analysis, and etc. Or it could be something that the clients would like to find in your report, and that is important. So yeah, those are the samples. And as you can see here, the coach who wrote this sample also mentioned the source where he found it. So here it's the challenge instruction and webinars. So you can also use this tool. And yeah, but it's not always mentioned because, as you can see below, coaches didn't mention the sources. And then we have the follow-up below, which is also in red. The follow-up is basically the feedback on the sample. It explains you how to proceed. It guides you in a way. So it's not the only way to proceed, but if you are lost and you don't know where to start, for example, this can be very, very useful for you. So basically, follow-ups are mainly text, but sometimes coaches also had some charts tables and even sometimes some links to websites that could help you with your reports. So yeah.
Thank you, Eva. So now I'll try to show you a bit more in detail one of the examples that we have for WMAs. So you can see what they look like. So let me share. I think you should be able to see the WMA one, right? For Wilster.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is one of the clients that we have currently, right? Wilster. Very interesting challenge, by the way. This is what the weekly milestone advice look like. So I'll try to zoom out a bit. This is the cover page, just so you can recognize them easily. It's very important that you read this note. So this is additional information, additional resource, but this is by no means something that you should follow, like what Eva was mentioning, so I'll zoom a bit more. Also, it gives you the link for the challenge if you have not seen it, and a link to the Dropbox with the webinar links. Then, as we move into this, like Eva was mentioning, we have two types of weekly milestone advice sheets. One is the general advice, like she mentioned very well. These general advice sheets only offer advice that is very easy to use for everyone, regardless of the challenge. But in this case, this is client specific. So here you will find advice that mostly makes sense for Wilsters only. It might actually make sense for other clients, but this is specific to this challenge in this case. So again, the idea for the samples part is that with reading this, you can already tell what this is about, but in the follow-up, you will find further instructions, further information as to how to proceed about this. We try to summarize here what the advice is about, and in the follow-up, you will find all of the actual advice, how to proceed. Once again, this is no instruction. This is not one way to do it. This is just a way where on how the coaches in our team would proceed about this in order to, in this case, provide a well-structured argument for comparing contrasting markets, which is part of this challenge specifically. But you may find a different way. You may like to use different sources. You might want to go about it in a different way. This is just a recommendation, and you may or may not take it. You may take a few things from this, you may take all the advice, or you may take 0% of the advice. So do not feel pressure to follow this. So as Eva said, you can ask to have access to these documents. I believe Dr. Bass sends a weekly link to this, but I am not sure as to who receives them, if it's all the students or if it's a select group. So I cannot give you all of that information yet, but you should have access as long as you ask for it. Yeah, so as Eva said, you will find here different sources of advice. Sometimes the advice focuses on maybe points that are not so clear in the challenge. And the coaches here will try to give you further insights into what they actually mean. Sometimes it may be a bit too vague, and it may be hard for you to really understand what the challenge mean. Or sometimes we may give you advice on where you could find other resources in order to or in order to complete a section. So for example, for entry modes or for pricing strategies, if we were to write advice for that, we would be spending pages and pages and pages, right? But that source of resources is already out there in the internet. So we may give you a guide as to which credible sources you may use in order to complete these sections. But I think that's pretty much it. I'll quickly give you a look at the general advice sheets, just so you can, oops, sorry about that. Take a look. So they look very similarly. This one has not been updated very recently, mainly because this advice doesn't change. We have people that take a look at this a few times a year, but for the moment it hasn't happened. So this is pretty much same structure. You will have the samples, and these are a bit more statistically based. So we have people that read a bunch of reports and then they have created this advice based on that. Okay, so in this case, a lot of reports lacked visual representations, so they were only text. This is actually something that I believe is very common. So the advice here would be to try to include those additional visual instruments supporting materials into your report in order to make it more visually appealing, easier to read, easier to find specifically numbers within your report. So if you are comparing data for two countries, it's easier to read that in a chart or in a table rather than just reading it in full text. So yeah.
One question. By any chance, do you have examples of both representation? I mean, the lack of visual representation and also the one that's good or not?
No, the only focus on the things that could be improved. I believe that here later we have a few examples. Maybe
Okay.
no.
No problem. No problem.
No, this mostly focus. Oh well, here in the feedback section, I believe this is the feedback section. The good ideas. You have maybe a few examples of how you can do things. So, for example, for the visual representations, if you're comparing two countries, you can choose Hofstede's website and you can compare two countries in different dimensions. But it's not that detailed, I guess, in the case that you mentioned. We try to keep it short, we try to keep it concise. But hopefully this should be enough for you to understand what the point is and how to go about it. Anyways, if you still have like further questions after reading this, you can always reach out to your coaches, and if they do not know how to answer you, they will reach out to someone in the AA program who can give you more details. Okay. But with that being said, I think we have covered everything regarding the WMAs. So we have covered all the examples, and now I'll pass it to Eva, who has a small activity for you.
Yes, so it's a small activity because, okay, so far in the practical phase, you and your team should be done with most of section 1 and I'm sorry for the light, by the way, but with most of section 1 and 2. And we would like to, we are not going to ask you to write a sample and a follow-up, but we would like to know what are the mistakes that you have done so far and how did you correct them? Or maybe you can also tell us, how do you think you could improve your reports? So we really invite you to participate in the chat. And if you if you want to speak, you can also raise your hand and turn on your mic actually. So yeah.
Okay. So while we wait, I guess if any of you wants to say something, please just unmute yourself. But we can maybe talk about a few of the common mistakes that we see. So I think Eva mentioned one already, which is very common, I think, is writing in first person. So saying, I believe, or I think, or we believe, or so referring to yourself in the first person instead of writing in the third. This is very, very common. And of course, it's not the best when you're writing a formal business proposal. So that's one. Also, the lack of visual representation, supporting argument, supporting materials, I mean. That's another one that we already covered. Eva, do you have another? Rafael, I know you were on the reports evaluations for a long time, so maybe you have some common advice, some common mistakes, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go.
No, go first.
Oh, okay. What I face a lot of times that sometimes people try to expose their ideas on how they can help the company to overcome the challenge, right? But usually there is no argument behind that. So whenever you guys try to expose your ideas and how to solve the situation, try to explain how would you do it and give not big arguments, but hard arguments where you can defend your point. Okay, so try to convince the company what you're doing, what you're proposing is good. Otherwise, you are just showing something that doesn't give an explanation on how to do it. Okay, so try to be more specific as possible whenever you expose your ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
that's right. And
Yeah,
so
Eva?
I've bin so I scored some reports, and a common mistake that I saw is that sometimes students they, for example, let's say okay, I don't know, the SWOT analysis. Okay, they explain what's a SWOT analysis, but they don't really do the SWOT. They rather, maybe the SWOT wasn't a good example, but for example, okay, let's say the marketing message. They say, okay, the marketing message is this, this, this. They explain in detail what's the marketing message, but at the end, they don't say any recommendation for the client. What marketing message should the client adopt? So yeah.
I agree. So that's also something that I see a lot. I think because most people here are coming from their schools and participating in some sort of course where X-Culture is just a part of that, they focus so much on the academics. So in the case of the SWOT, I think I've seen a few where before they go into the SWOT, they explain what is a SWOT analysis. And it's important to remember that the people that will be reading your reports are already knowledgeable. So you have a knowledgeable audience. They know what is a SWOT. They know what is a marketing message. They know all the basic terms that you are using. So you shouldn't lose time explaining those. And what Rafael mentioned before, so that's true as well. Some reports are only argument based without the research behind it, without supporting arguments, and for some parts of the report they have the research, and for some others they lack research. So make sure that every time that you are giving a proposal, that you are proposing something, that you are explaining an idea, there is some research behind it. That is not just your opinion. Okay, that's very important. So I think I see a few things in the chat. So from Dua, is it okay to change some major parts of the report after submitting the weekly drafts? Yes, that's completely fine. You can change even everything. I think there is no problem. Like you can even change your client. As long as you update in the weekly service, I believe, right, Rafael? As long as you update on the
Yeah.
weekly service, you can even change your client. So it's completely fine. You can always go.
The important submission that you have to do is the final report. So whenever you submit the final report, you can no longer send it any other drafts. Okay, so before that, you can change anything that you want.
Exactly. So the idea for these drafts is, of course, to follow your progress, to see how you guys are doing, and to make sure that you guys are already working on this. But you can always go back and change everything or anything that you need to change.
We also have
Next,
a question from Jai Surya. Jai Surya,
Hello.
hello.
Hi.
Yeah. So I'm actually from my client company is Zenhire, and if you I don't know if you guys gone through the report. Section 2 seems to have very little content on it. Like there's nothing much to do.
Okay.
Section 2 of Zenhire.
What do you mean?
So all we had to do in section 2 of Zenhire is attend an interview, give an interview, and that's it. Done. So I don't know what to write on the report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sadly, we don't have the client expert for Zenhire here, but if you can just give me a second, I'll quickly take a look.
In short, we just had to attend an interview, and it's done.
And what's the title of section 2?
It's called
product development. So
product development. Yeah.
No.
After this, I have another question.
Okay, so if you have client-specific question, I think the best is I cannot give you a full answer now. You should you should reach out to your coach, I think, and they can maybe reach out to the client expert for Senhai, which is Adriana. Is that all right, Rafael? Is that how they should proceed? Because you don't have CRM.
Sure. Oh, wait a
So I
minute.
recommend you reach out to your coach.
We already did actually, but the coach hasn't replied yet.
Who is your coach?
We have Ankit Gautam. He's a coach. He actually got in the lead coach, who's Ishika.
Okay.
And when did
And,
you ask them?
2 days prior, I guess. 2 to 3 days prior.
Okay, I will talk to them. Okay.
Yeah, and my next question: what is time to market?
What do you mean? Can you explain further?
All right. So Zenhire has in its PDF, if you can
Yep.
scroll on top in section 1, there is a section column called time to market. It basically speaks about the potential products that that particular company would add in the future. So I don't know how to fill that up. Like how can I find out what the company's future plans are going to be? It's hard. It's like a little deep. So
Again, since that's a very client-specific question, I think the best should be that the academy team puts you in contact with the client expert for Senhire, who's Adriana. I think they can help you a bit more with that, because I personally am not that familiar with the challenge, so
All
I
right.
couldn't give you the most specific answer right now.
That's the only reason why actually section 1 is not complete. That column is incomplete. So yeah.
Can you repeat? Where is it?
If you in section 1 of the Zenhire document, there is this column called time to market. I could share my screen right now if that's okay.
Sure.
Is it? Here, this column.
Oh.
So I don't know how to find out the products that a company will add in the future. I have no idea how to do that. And section 2 seems to have very little content on it. Section 3 seems to compensate very well. There's a lot to do on section 3.
Yeah, we need to actually. I don't know either, but you find different competitors as the chart is showing.
I'm sorry.
You found different competitors.
Oh yeah, I did. The only competitor that is common from this is HireVue and Vidcruiter. That's it. Everything else is different.
Okay.
The competitors that are found.
Okay. Can you please send me a message, an email to Academy email, and then I will forward to the.
I sent that as well. Actually, I got a return email saying that Zenhire is on vacation.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But for
But
now,
again,
you can leave. Yeah, for now you can leave it in blank, and we can need to wait for the response because I also don't know about it. Okay.
about
section 2 as well. Could please give me clarity on that too? There's very little on section 2 as well. Like, is that all that need to be done, or is there a little more? I can click on here if you guys want to. You can take a look at it.
No, but it's all right. I already took a look. So I understand what you mean. And as long as you are following the instructions, it's completely fine. So do not worry about that. Again, if you can, please reach out. We'll try to put you in contact with a client expert. So now I understood what you're missing for section 1 is only the time to market concept, right?
Yes, yes.
So you have everything else for your table.
Yeah, yeah. My other teammates have completed their part.
Okay, so if you are having trouble with the concept, I think that you can take two approaches. One is just not considering for your table, and the other one is trying to find resources online about that. I think it's a business concept that you have to understand. It relates as to a time frame within you have within a time frame within what you have to take in order to develop a product before it's ready to launch, right? So again, if you're having troubles with that, you can reach out to the coaching team. They can probably give you more help with that.
I think that's not the problem. I don't know what the company is going to do in the future. That's the
What do you mean?
well, that's exactly what time to market means, right? It means what the product that the company wants to launch in the future, or it can launch in the future. Isn't that what time to market means, or am I wrong? Please correct me.
As far as I understood, is what Duncan was saying is the time that the team takes to launch something. So it's more like an estimation.
Yeah, it's the time to market. It's the time that you take between development and launch of the product. There might be a more in-depth definition online. I do not have one here, but you can find a lot of articles online about this. So you do not really need that specific information about the company in order to complete that. But if you're truly having a lot of trouble with that, I think you can avoid it in your table. It's completely fine as long as you have everything else.
All right, then thank you.
I think the main idea here is in the chart is just to show them that the Zen Hire is working faster than the others. Basically that, I think. So it's not a very, I mean, it's kind of important, but it's not a very different kind of thing for that company, okay? It's more like something to not show off them, but show their good traits on their company.
Yeah, but that also like here, I don't know what I shared. Did I share the Google? Okay, let me change it from the page.
Show the documents, the challenge.
Yeah, no. Okay, so it was fine. Yeah, but now I change it from the. So you're seeing the challenge, right? So it's important here in the brackets. It says you can put your own dimensions in the vertical column. So you do not have to follow one-to-one what they have. You can do your own. So if you're having really trouble with that, you can avoid it. You can replace it with a different concept that you want to use, or you can use that one, but you have to then try to understand fully what they mean. Again, coaches might help you with that, or if you reach out to the client expert, they might help you as well.
And maybe you have a different top that you find more important for this kind of situation. So you can choose, as Duncan said, you can choose a different top and make a different table for your own. Okay. The main idea is that you create something that will back up what you're explaining. Okay. So everything you create for the report, it's the main idea is that you defend your point and your view on what is the best solution for the company.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Is there any other question? Can we continue with the presentation?
So we are just about to finish. So I'll try to keep it short. So now we'll do a quick summary of what we saw today. So again, We have a full team of coaches and client experts that are working together to develop these WMAs. This is a very capable team. These are some of the best coaches that we have, and the client experts are very long time. Well, they have been in the program for longer than the others. They have a lot of experience, and they are really good at creating this advice. So you should at least take a look, try to think critically about your reports, and try to see if there is anything that you would like to change or adapt according to this advice that they give you. Again, this is not something that you should 100% do. These are just advice that you may or may not take. So the main focus of this, again, is to only help you try to improve the quality of your report. And we have two types of weekly milestone advice sheets, which are general. So these cover everything from formatting, writing styles, common mistakes, more general concepts. And then you have the client-specific advice sheets, which cover client-specific topics, so client-specific requests, and things that are more specific to each of the client challenges. In the weekly milestone advice sheets, you have the samples, which are the main topic about the advice, and then in the follow-ups you will find a lot more information as to sometimes what's the approach that our team would take, sometimes where you can find resources in order to create your own work, and sometimes it will just provide you with a bit more of information as to common mistakes and how to avoid them. And lastly, as Eva mentioned, for the general WMAs, you have one for each section, but for the client specific, sadly, we do not have a big enough team to have one for each of the clients. So you will find one for some of the clients only. You already saw the list, but if you still have doubts, I'll show it again right now. But you can always reach out to the coaches as well, and they will let you know if there is any WMA. So I'll quickly go back and show you the list once again. I guess you can take a screenshot. So it's here. So it's Celux, Differ, NovaBrink, Referee, Skivik 3, Travel Kill, and Wilster. Okay, those are the weekly milestone advice sheets that we have. If we do add more, you will see that in the Dropbox folder, and sometimes we have to remove a few due to things happening in the program. So that's more specific. But you should find this at least for section 1 and 2. Okay. Section 3 is coming on Tuesday, I think. So yeah, that's about everything that we have for you today. Eva, I don't know if you have something to say.
I don't have anything else to ask, but we have a question from Dua who asked if we can recommend her a guide on the APA reference style. I mean, there is no guide. You just have to follow the APA reference style. That it's like a rule, but you can go to your theoretical model, and you should find all the information about it there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm mistaken.
I have a better recommendation here for this point. Okay, so whenever for the APA style, you can just check your challenge. Okay, so just go for your company challenge. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so if you go, here's the name hire that we are looking for. Okay, so you can just scroll down and you will find the report structure and formatting. Okay, so here you will find all the structure for all throughout the report. So title page, what needs to have, executive summary, what is the executive summary, and what it must provide, report sections, references, and here is the APA style and appendix. And also you can look for the formatting. But for this part here, formatting APA style, I really recommend you to do it by the end. So whenever you do all the research and not getting all the information, discussing with your team, and then create an explanation of your point of view and your solutions, and then I recommend you to work on formatting. Okay, so it would be your last work of the report. So whenever you have done everything, you work on this formatting and APA style. Okay, so here you can find all the formatting settings, and also here APA reference style if you want to look at it. Okay. Just to taking this opportunity, I just look it up for a couple of reports that may show you what Danko said at the beginning regarding the presentation itself. Okay, so wait a minute, where is it? Okay, so here, as you can see, whenever Danko said about the presentation of the report, okay, so whenever you see this kind of report, it's just the first impression, but what is your first impression of this report? It will look good or not? What do you think?
It gives a good impression.
So whenever you look at it, it not that does make you happy, but it feels better when you see it, right? So think about if you are a company CEO, you don't have too much time to look and read through everything, right? So if you receive 1,000, not 1,000, but 100 reports, and it looks not that good, how would you feel? Would you give more importance for the ones that look better or not? Okay, just one point. And also when you scroll down and look, it's very clean and simple, and you can just search for the most important information. So it's on rubrics. It's not rubrics. Yeah. So it's easy to read and easy to understand the report. So it's a very good point for this report itself. Okay. There's a lot of graphics. It's summarized. It's not heavy to read. Okay. And here's another example. There are a lot of text. I don't know if the arguments are good or not, but if they show the same argument, I will give more points to the one that look better. Okay, so take that into consideration. Give a really good an explanation on your what you're showing, but also show it in a better way. So as you can see, there is a lot of text. There is missing, there are blanks here in this page, a lot of text as well. So it's kind of heavy and dense to read everything, okay? So the main idea here is that you create a report that's very well explained, but also easy to read, okay?
That's great. Those are great examples. And just one last point, of course, you can always go into both extremes. So make sure that you don't go the complete opposite extreme where it's too much colors, it's too difficult to understand because there is too much going on. Like you have pictures in one side, in the other, you have many colors, bright colors. It can be overwhelming as well. So try to not go into that extreme as well.
That's true, that's true.
Those are great examples. So I guess I can quickly show an example of what we mean, I think, for underwhelming reports. So if you go, I will not show the names of the members, but this is from the previous semester. And here is a report which was scored very poorly, and you can see why. Here is the title. It looks exactly the same as everything else. There is no formatting at all. It's all text. As you scroll down, there is nothing, no formatting at all. It seems like very poor effort. Honestly, it's sad to see. There are problems with the format here. There is not everything aligned to the left. So you can see this is the extreme, of course, of what you shouldn't do. And then I think I have an example of a winning report as well from last semester. I cannot find it. Maybe just give me a second. Here it is. So again, this didn't win because it had the most beautiful. It's decent. It's very organized. It's not. This is clearly just Word, like they use Word for creating this, but it's very organized. It's very easy to follow. You can find everything pretty easily. Where are the headings, the subheadings, all the information. It's easy to read. It's not too dense. They do have tables. They do have charts. So yeah. So this is an example. You do not have to go crazy with the colors and everything. You just have to focus on making your report easy to read, easy to follow, and not well, appealing if it's possible, of course. Yeah. So I think that covers everything. I don't know if anyone has any questions. If you do, please just unmute yourself. Otherwise, I think we are ready. We're done.
Okay, so no questions? All good? Okay, so thank you, Danko. Thank you, Eva, for doing the presentation. I will just do a quickly review of the week and what's going to go next. Okay, thank you very much. So now for this week, you guys are supposed to work on the report section 2. Okay, so make sure to get together with your team and submit your report section 2 draft. Okay, next weekend you guys will start to work on report section 3. So if you guys already have done the section 2 and 1, you can just start right away the section 3. Okay. Are you guys in touch with your coach? Is everything okay regarding that? All good? No problem at all? Okay, all good then. That's great, Dua. It's great. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you very much. I think that's it, guys. So next weekend, we will have a cooking class, Eva, or not?
That's a bad news that I have to announce to you, but so far it doesn't look good.
Okay.
But
okay, no problem. We may have a cooking class or virtual tours next weekend. We will sort it out this week and let you know by Thursday, Friday. Okay, so keep in touch, and I see you guys next weekend. Thank you, Danko.
Interested,
sure.
Send Rafael a mail as soon as possible. We would like you to see you cooking some dish from your countries.
Okay. Yeah. You need to promote. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Danko, for taking your time to doing this, and also thank you, Eva, for planning and hosting everything. Okay.
Thanks to you, and thanks for having us and for everyone to listen.
Okay. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you. See you next weekend.